Well, greetings. I'm happy to participate in this forum in your festival. As of today, there has been a change in the climate of the world economic situation, a catastrophic change which requires a certain response by relevant leading nations, because without the action from these relevant leading nations in cooperation, there is no chance of stopping the catastrophe which is in progress. I'll explain it the following. This week, the week that we're here, the New York-based system of the Federal Reserve System went to the edge of brink beyond which there will be a catastrophe like that which struck Weimar Germany in the summer and spring of 1933. So that's the situation. So don't think only of long-term perspectives. I admit that many of you have hope that you will live to enjoy something quarter century or 2/4 of a century ahead. But the action has to be now. The entire world monetary financial system, as it presently exists, is in a worldwide process of collapse in which the immediate detonator is the New York Federal Reserve System. And the larger context of this is the British system known as the Inter-Alpha Group, which actually controls directly or indirectly 70% of the world's banking. The only thing that's propping up the Inter-Alpha Group banking, the British banking system today, is the sucker role being played by the United States in supporting the British system. Now, what will happen if this goes ahead, and if it's not changed, there will be a general chain reaction collapse of the U.S. economy and the British economy and the British system internationally, comparable to what happened to Germany in the spring, summer, and autumn of 1923. In other words, unless this is stopped, unless a change is made, the whole world is going into a global dark age, which will begin in the transatlantic section of the world and will spread to the Asian sector as well as to South America, Africa, and so forth. So we're at a very serious catastrophe at this point, and the response has to be immediate. You can't talk about gradual changes. Now, what I'm working on, and our people in the United States in particular are working on, we have an alternative. There are measures that can be taken right now within the power of the U.S. government to make them. But those changes will not be made as long as a British puppet called President Obama of the United States is still in power. Our plan is the following. Our plan is to throw Obama out of the presidency now. Once that is done, we will reinstate what is called the Glass Steagall law in the United States. Under the Glass Steagall law, and in cooperation with other countries, of which the prospective members are Russia, China, India, and others, we will set into place a fixed exchange rate system comparable to what Roosevelt set in motion with the Bretton Woods Conference of 1944. Once that is done, we will then be in a position to launch programs of reconstruction which will change the situation of the planet in physical economy for the better. The pivotal center of the U.S. section of this program is what's called NWAPA, the North American program, which is really an infrastructure program. That is the development of the water systems in the area from Alaska through Canada down into Mexico, from the part of the United States, which is west of the 20-inch rainfall line. This is the area of mountains and deserts and that sort of thing. This program will save the United States. It will provide millions of employment immediately if it's installed, if nothing prevents it from being installed. And it will also increase the moisture exchange inside the United States as a whole by 2.7 times, which means even though the amount of water we are capturing, which is not going into the Pacific but will go into this system, is a certain amount, that the entire system will conserve water, and it will also cause the rainfalls to areas east of this area. And the resulting precipitation of water will be 2.7 times the amount of water that is put into the system. This system the design for this was based on a study of what happened with the Tennessee Valley Authority, which Roosevelt launched in 1933 as his key reconstruction program, which worked, as it can be known, very successfully. This will have a similar effect. What this will mean will be an elimination of the present financial monetary system of the world, which is now presently hopelessly bankrupt. That is what is happening now, is a general breakdown of the monetary systems of the entire world. The only thing we can do is replace the monetary systems with a new kind of fiscal system, a fixed exchange rate system, a credit system. And that can be done simply. We did it before in the United States under Roosevelt. It can be done more broadly. It was Roosevelt's intention for the post-war period, his anti-imperialist program for the post-war period. So this is the key chance for saving civilization through cooperation among the United States, Russia, China, India, and other countries. This program will mean a future for the young generation of those countries and adjoining areas. This is the best hope, and probably the only hope, presently available to the Ukraine under these present conditions of crisis. So therefore, the obvious thing is to resolve to do this and to understand that this is not simply a project of water system. This is a driver of the economy to a higher level of functioning, whose goal will include the actual continuation of the space program. In other words, we're talking about what will happen from this time on through the remainder of this present century if this is installed. Our problem immediately in the United States, we have a British puppet who is president of the United States, Barack Obama. As long as he remains president, there is no hope for the United States and therefore no hope for the world. Because what is happening now in the United States and Europe is a chain reaction collapse which will take over the entire world unless we stop it in the transatlantic region. Elimination of Obama and restoration of Glass Steagall will stop it. The implementation of a program which is already designed, the NOAPA project, will start a recovery in the United States, which in cooperation with Russia, for example, as in the Siberian area of development, and the construction of the Bering Straits Tunnel as an integral part of this program, will mean a revival of economy not only in the United States, but in Eurasia, and it will spill obviously into Africa and into South America. So that's where we stand. We stand in the gravest crisis in all modern world history. It's struck, and it struck in the United States this week. As of this point, unless there's a fundamental change in the current policy of the U.S. presidency now, in the Federal Reserve System, we are already in a chain reaction collapse which will sweep through and ruin every economy in every part of the world. So we must stop it now, and we must go to the corrective measure, which is to eliminate this president, and we can do that. Go to a NOAPA perspective, through a fixed exchange rate system in the United States, and through a equivalent fixed exchange rate system, in addition to banking, internationally. That is a worldwide system of cooperation in terms of an economic system based on recovery. We can put it through, it can succeed, but it's going to take nerve, courage, and effectiveness to make this change. and we must make it now. It is not something for pie in the sky for the distant future. The future salvation of civilization as a whole depends upon the success of this measure.